and yours truly, Tracy King Dye. We want to welcome you all to our symposium this morning, where we will focus on the 7 pillars of self-health care. At this time, we'll have our prayer, our opening prayer by Reverend Olivia Ashford Williams, if she's here.
I can pray.
Thank you.
Okay. Let us pray. Father God, we come before you in gratitude and thanksgiving. We thank you for this beautiful day you have blessed us with. And we thank you for these, your children, that are gathered together by your Spirit in person and online. God, we ask that you please rest, rule, and abide with this experience. Please replenish those who have labored and didn't think it was robbery to study and show themselves approved for you. God, give us clarity of mind, clarity of speech and thought, so that someone can gain some insights on how to grow closer to you. And if you do this, we promise to give you all of the glory, honor, and praise. In Jesus' name we pray and say thank you. Amen.
Amen.
Again, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I am so excited for this topic today. Self-care, as we're going to hear, is a multifaceted concept that has been thrown around a lot. A lot of people are talking about self-care, and as much as it is thrown around and used, I believe that it's definitely trivialized to some degree.
It is.
I also believe that it has been commercialized to peddle things, to peddle services, to peddle goods, to peddle things that will so-called make you feel better, to justify having going on a shopping spree if you've had a bad day. That's why we're super grateful for the Women's Day Committee, supremely grateful for these amazing panelists, for their time, for their gifts this morning. And the hope is that we are going to engage in a dialogue where we really end up having a different definition and perspective on what self-care is, what it looks like, and how we can be more intentional about caring for ourselves in the same way that we care for others. So with that, we're going to introduce our amazing panelists. Directly to my left is Dr. Lisa O. Kershaw, who is an educator, a small business owner, a nonprofit president. She began teaching as a special education teacher certified in emotional disabilities. Her experience in working with individuals with emotional disabilities and autism spectrum disorder led her to earn her national board certification as an exceptional needs specialist. Serving as a district teacher of the year and as a South Carolina state finalist teacher of the year. Dr. Kershaw has worked to restructure an alternative school and serve as a consultant in the area of emotional disabilities and behavior for a large school district. She served as the South Carolina Department of Education state consultant for autism spectrum disorders, working to provide education, awareness, and programming for individuals with autism, their educators, and their families. As a national speaker and nationally published in the area, she is a national speaker and nationally published in the area of behavior and autism. Dr. Kershaw currently works for an autism robotics company while managing her business, Joyful Souls Heirloom Nursery, an organic vegetable and herb seeding nursery and gardening education hub. As a microfarmer for 30 years, Dr. Kershaw teaches others how to grow healthy food in any location. Any location. She is also the creator and president of the Outside of Eden Garden League, a philanthropic group that provides sustainable growing education and activities in communities, as well as the Sow and Grow sustainable growing education programs, a greenhouse on the go to bring sustainable growing education for health, wellness, and enjoyment to those in schools, community centers, senior centers, and more. She is a master gardener, certified in horticulture therapy, and runs her own apiary, the Bee Suites. Currently, Dr. Kershaw has partnered with another nonprofit to create the Grow Farm in Columbia, South Carolina, and she's going to talk a lot more about that today, which will serve as a fresh produce mini farm and growing education and our agricultural job skills hub. Dr. Kershaw is happily married to Martin Kershaw, the proud mother of 4 children, 2 stepchildren, and 2 grandsons.
So happy to be here. Thank you.
I'm sorry. Oh. Next, we have Miss Georgia Gibson, a dear friend of mine who is a compassionate and dedicated licensed clinical social worker with 16 years of experience helping individuals and families navigate life's challenges. Specializing in areas of expertise such as trauma, depression, anxiety, grief, or relationship issues, Georgia provides personalized therapeutic interventions in a safe, non-judgmental environment. With a strong foundation in evidence-based practices, Georgia employs a combination of cognitive behavioral therapy, mindfulness techniques, and solution-focused approaches to support clients in achieving meaningful and lasting change. Georgia holds a master's degree in social work from the University of South Carolina and is licensed in South Carolina, Michigan, New Jersey, Indiana, West Virginia, and North Carolina. She's got you covered in all those states, y'all. Throughout her career, Georgia has worked in various settings, including private practice, hospitals, and community health centers, offering both individual and group therapy. Georgia is committed to empowering clients by helping them develop the tools necessary to cope with stressors, enhance their mental well-being, and foster resilience. As a lifelong advocate for mental health, Georgia is passionate about destigmatizing therapy and providing a supportive space for people to explore their emotions and experiences. She works collaboratively with clients to set goals, improve self-awareness, and promote emotional healing and growth. In her free time, Georgia enjoys reading, traveling, and continues to advance her knowledge in the field through ongoing professional development and training.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Good morning.
Next, we have Mrs. Courtney Llewellyn. Courtney is a licensed massage and bodywork therapist with over 11 years of experience offering expert care and helping clients achieve physical well-being and relaxation. Courtney also has her own massage practice called the Aquarium Ambiance here in Columbia, just up the road, right off of Two Notch Road. In addition to being a licensed massage therapist, Courtney recently joined the real estate family and became a proud South Carolina realtor, combining a passion for service with a commitment to helping others find their perfect home. A dedicated member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, the best sorority in the world.
Okay,
Okay.
that's debatable. Debatable.
It's debatable, right? Courtney actively contributes to community initiatives and empowerment. In addition to professional pursuits, Courtney serves as a leader in the children's ministry at her church, nurturing the spiritual growth and development of young minds.
Welcome, Courtney.
Reverend Melillian Scott, a Columbia native. Reverend Melillian Scott is a daughter of Reverend Blakely N. Scott and Mary Brooks Scott, along with her sister, Mina Scott Barnes. She is a lifelong member of First Nazareth Baptist Church here in Columbia and a product of Richland County District 1 Public Schools. After graduating from W.J. Keenan High School, she obtained a Bachelor of Arts and a Master of Architecture from Clemson University, where she was also inducted into Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Well done. She has recently attained a Master of Divinity at Lenore Ryan University's Lutheran Theological Southern Seminary. She is currently enrolled at United Theological Seminary to attain a Doctor of Ministry in Dayton, Ohio. In 2025, she began serving at the Gill Creek Baptist Church in Columbia as assistant to Pastor James C. Woodley. She has worked with various service groups, including the Junior League of Columbia, National Kidney Foundation, and a South Carolina Bishop's public education initiative called the Reading Matters program. Answering God's call on her life, she preached her initial sermon at First Nazareth in January 2019 and maintains an active preaching schedule and role as associate minister. In addition, she works with the technology and media ministries, sings on the choir, and helps facilitate virtual Bible study. She acknowledges that only what you do for Christ will last and finds inspiration in Mother Teresa's version of the poem, Do It Anyway. Rudyard Kipling's poem, If, and scripture, Romans 8:28. And we know that all things work together for the good of them, for the good of them who love God and those who are called according to his purpose.
Awesome.
Again, we are so very grateful for all of you ladies. Thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you.
Let's get to it.
All right, let's do it. All right, so we've heard your certifications and your background, so we're just going to dive in. Why is prioritizing women's health and self-care more important today than ever before? If we can start with you, Dr. Lisa?
I think it's always been important, but I think even more so today because we really are the backbone of the family.
Yes.
Right on this side?
Okay.
Let's see if that works. But there are more and more pressures upon us. It used to be that women took care of the home. We stayed in the home, we raised the children, we cooked the food. That hasn't changed, but now we also go to work. We take care of our parents. We take care of our children many times into adulthood. You know, our kids used to get out the house much earlier, but they don't anymore. They stay around. And so a lot of us are sandwiched in between generations, trying to take care of ourselves, trying to take care of so many people in the work world. And if we don't take care of ourselves, we're not going to be able to do any of that. And we're not going to be able to enjoy a quality of life. And a quality of life may not have been a consideration because you were expected just to take care of everyone. But there's nothing wrong with us taking care of ourselves and enjoying our life as well. And being able to face all these things that are coming at us now that just didn't exist back in the day.
True. That makes a lot of sense. Now, Sir Reverend Scott, what do you think from a spiritual perspective?
From a spiritual perspective, first of all, thank y'all for having all of us a part of this. But from a spiritual perspective, we have to have some grounding, and we have to realize that you can't, from all the roles that you listed, in addition, we're always changing phases, right? And so we have to be grounded in something that's eternal and something that's never really going to change. And that will be our spiritual core. And with all of the roles that women face, you can't pour from an empty cup. So that's the grounding of this entire platform about self-care that is not selfish, that in order to take care of someone else in any form, you have to have taken care of yourself.
Makes sense. Thank you. That certainly makes sense. I'm sure we can all relate to that in one way or the other. Now, Courtney, as a therapist,
I was saying yes, ma'am, but
okay.
just manners.
What do you think about self-care when you have your patients come in, your clients come in to see you? What do you tell them? Is it just, this will help you relax and make it through the day and get through all these things that Dr. Lisa just mentioned? What is your take on this?
So for me, I have a lot of clients that do a lot, and myself included, and a lot of women included. So a lot of times when they come in, when they're on the table, I make them take 3 deep breaths, just because you need to I don't know if anybody ever watched A Different World, but you remember when Whitley said, relax, relate, release?
Right.
Relax, relate, release. But it definitely helps. It's not just to get through your day. It's because you need that mental break. You need the hands-on massage. You need it. It's not a luxury like a lot of people think it is. Right. It's a necessity. It definitely helps to reduce blood pressure, because I know a lot of people have high blood pressure. Yes. You have people that come into your lives, and sometimes as soon as you see their face or you see their name on your phone calling,
yeah.
but yeah, you tense up, and that's negativity that you do not need. So definitely massage does help that, but also breathing techniques will help as well. So on that physical aspect, massage will help it with breathing to get you to relax, to help reduce that blood pressure so that you can do other things for yourself. Because like they said, if you're running around doing everything for other people, who's doing stuff for you?
Oh, true. So true. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And Georgia, what about your perspective?
As a mental health therapist, a lot of the clients I get are at their wits' end. They're stressed out with the things that Tara mentioned, family, friends, work, and all the stuff that's going on in the world today. We've faced a lot of things that have impacted us from the ground up.
Yes.
And financially, it's becoming a strain on a lot of people. So more people are having to work and work longer. And with that, it's more strain on your body. And self-care, it's not selfish. And like someone said, you cannot pour from an empty cup. Once you've poured into everybody else, then what are you left with? Coming here today, whether you're joining via social media or you're joining here in here, this is the first step of taking the time to put you as a priority on your list. You should be in the top 3
I like that.
every day.
Oh.
Because if you're not, who says that someone else is pouring into you? Being in a sandwich generation is a thing now. Our parents are living longer, and like Ms. Kershaw mentioned, Dr. Kershaw mentioned, that our kids are with us longer, and they may need us to do more for them. And so with having to do that, we have to make sure that this cup is at least half full, and we need to ask for help. Help is critical. We can't do this by ourselves. In the Bible, it says, people are raised and nurtured up by the village. And the village starts with the person sitting next to you, the church, the outside organizations, work colleagues, your spouse, even your children can help you. So your mental health starts right here by you showing up today. And I'm grateful for everyone who's shown up here and on social media.
Yeah, definitely. And that's a great challenge for us as many black women, letting go, releasing, and letting someone help you. That's a challenge.
Yeah, thank you for that. You all, a couple of you have already touched upon the sandwich generation. Can we talk just for a minute about caring for the caregiver? Again, there are so many challenges that we are, can you all hear me? Okay. There's so many challenges that we are being faced with. We've got political stressors, economic stressors, you name it. We are working, we are caring for others. Some of us are caring for children with special needs.
Yes.
Some of us are caring for a chronically ill spouse. Some of us are, again, speaking to the sandwich generation, perhaps adult children caring for a parent with dementia. With all of those things going on, how self-care becomes more challenging, right? It's already challenging just with kind of just baseline stuff, but with all of those challenges added on, what do you all say when you are the perpetual caregiver? You are the only person, you are always that person for someone else. How do you manage?
Yeah.
How do you manage caring for yourself? Anyone can jump in.
Well, see if I keep my voice, as allergies have me. So I care for my father, who's had 2 strokes. I have a son who has autism. My mother, who's struggling with memory issues, trying to run a business, trying to do my so-called real job. And I think you have to recognize, first of all, she said, make yourself one of the top 3 every day.
Yeah.
You have to do that. But a lot of us face time issues. Where do I find the time to go to the gym? Where do I find the time to care for me? To make the time. The other thing is, a lot of times we have to get out of our own way. We as women tend to have egos in the sense of, I can do this, and I don't need anyone's help.
Superwoman.
Because, right, we want to be, so we want that cape on our back. And you have to recognize you're not a martyr. This is not about that. Because I promise you, God forbid, if you are gone, they're going to move somebody else in your place. Whether it be on the job, somebody finding you to do what you did in the home, they're going to find somebody to replace you. And what have you gotten out of it? Have you enjoyed anything? Have you enjoyed any of the blessings that have been bestowed on you because you can't get out of your own way? Many times people will offer to help you, and you know, I've got it, I'm fine. Take that help. Accept the people who want to be in your village, because we still need a village. Our children don't just need a village, we need a village. You need a village of people who you can talk to, who will listen to you, people who can provide you resources so you can pull more into your village. So many times it is getting out of your own way, letting people in, and getting that trusted village, that trusted community around you so that you can keep going and you can also live life with enjoyment.
I love that.
As a business owner, I always thought if I owned my own business, I would have enough time to do everything. Oh, that's a falsehood also. I just wanted you guys to know that. I left the school district 6 years ago on the idea that my business would free up my time to take care of my family, my kids, help with my grandkids, help with my parents and my dad and my brother. And I quickly found out that being the owner is as difficult as being an employee. The demands are different. And so one of the things I had to do was decide to get up 15 minutes earlier in the morning when everybody's asleep and do something for myself. When I first started it, I would just walk really slow and meditate over a scripture in the morning. And as time got by, I started to do half marathons. And that was a way for me to connect with my higher power and for me to get exercise in. Yes, and so those things. But it starts small. You cannot say, I'm going to dedicate an hour to just sitting and just being. Most of us don't know how to sit still. And not knowing how to sit still is a problem. It's a very big problem.
It is a problem.
And I say that as a therapist and someone's wife, mother, and grandmother. We're always thinking, what can we do for the folks around us instead of going, okay, what do I need today? And so starting out with maybe a scripture in the morning, a guided meditation, or just journaling and being grateful in the morning. Start something small, because nothing is done until you start small. It starts with one brick in the corner, and the foundation has to be very strong for you to survive and be here for everybody. Sandwich generation, a lot of our family members, because we're in the Black community, suffer from, these chronic diseases. And we have family members that need us. And them needing us is not the problem, but us putting ourselves last, that's the problem. And that's where you spoke about the ego. We don't have to do it all. I found out recently when my husband retired, he does laundry. He does all these wonderful things
that's
that
wonderful.
I used to do, and so it's freed me up to care for myself. I walk an hour 5 days a week because he's given me the time, and I've given up the need to do the laundry, the need to do the dishes, the need to go to the grocery store. So we have to relinquish something to create, because there's only 24 hours in a day.
Share their responsibility.
Yes, and there are people, when they say they're going to help, hey, go ahead and ask them. Then you'll know who your friends are.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and for me, I have accountability partners. So, because sometimes you're just like, I ain't gonna do it today. Yeah, you're gonna do it. You're gonna take some time for yourself. And like you said, to start small, those little things add up. Because, of course, 100 pennies still equal $1. But
that.
also, too, for me, myself, I've started taking myself to the movies. So now I did miss out on last month because I did have a lot going on. So I owe myself 2 times this month. But I just started taking myself to the movies while my baby is at school, because mommy needs just time to herself. But yeah, so nobody around you, just go by yourself. It's fine. It's perfectly fine to go by yourself. You don't need anybody around you in order to go. You can pay for your own ticket. You can pay for your own snack. You can watch your own movie without anybody on the sides of you. You can pick your own seat. You don't have to be squished. Like, it's just a relaxing moment for yourself. And then, like you said, taking that 15 minutes earlier, sometimes I will get up earlier in the morning just to have a moment to myself. And sometimes, too, I'll take a longer shower. The shower, that is my oasis. And sometimes I can stay in there for about 20, 30 minutes.
Wow.
But
The water bill must be something.
No,
But-
really.
it's my oasis. It helps me just to, relax. And it's one of the things that helps me get started. Or either at night, it just helps me relax.
Nice.
But yeah, accountability partner, get yourself some time to yourself, movies or walking or whatever you want to do, just a hobby for yourself. Not for anybody else, yourself.
Just you.
Yes.
Well, what I've heard give an example of, I can only just offer a summary because y'all took the words out of my mouth. What I just heard was as far as finding some time to enjoy yourself, just finding the joy. Make sure you find the joy in the day. And also time management is the first thing that popped up. And I also heard that I already said that you have to just have boundaries. And with all of, even, as a business owner myself, you do have 24 hours. But that really is, as far as all the tasks that you have to accomplish, it does not seem enough, but you do have a set of 24 hours in a week. And so you can distinguish, okay, which day am I going to do this, and then make sure you have those boundaries and say, okay, it's 10 o'clock. I got to make sure that I take my time and meditate. I got to make sure, that I spend the time, I call that friend just to make sure I have that conversation for my accountability partner. And so there are certain things that you have to instill as far as boundaries, time management, and discipline, self-discipline. And that's something else that could be found in grounding yourself spiritually.
I love all of these strategies, and it excuse me, it sort of reinforces something that I think about a lot, to treat ourselves the way we would a friend. All of the things that are being talked about, asking for help, accepting help. You talked about getting out of your own way. When we think about how we would treat a spouse, a child, we would absolutely never allow them to put all the stuff that we put on ourselves.
Right.
And so I often think about, the things that I'm doing to myself, the things that I'm saying to myself. What would I do if my husband or my mother or my child said this? What would I tell them to do? And so I think a lot about treating ourselves the way we would a friend
Right.
or a loved one.
That's a good point. And two, I think giving yourselves permission to get
Yeah.
out of the way,
Yeah.
to do these things, because we have, been stuck so many years of doing things this way. Got to do everything for everybody. We've got to put on that cape and be Wonder Woman or Superwoman to everyone. So giving yourself permission to go to the movies, to take a long shower, a leisurely stroll, yes, that's important. So let's talk about emotions. Specifically, how would any of you say, how do you stay safe in an unsafe environment, and particularly today's environment where we hear about physical attacks, attacks from just random folk, even our partners? What do you all say about keeping ourselves emotionally intact as we go through those types of situations? Even sometimes children might attack a parent or a woman. What do you all feel about that or say about that? Anyone?
Emotional safety is something that we have not had as black men and women. And so even defining it for ourselves is difficult.
Yes.
Because we're always put in these in situations where we feel that our voices can't be heard
Yes.
and that our needs cannot be met. And there should be a safe place. We create it by figuring out who we are first, what our value systems are. Most of us have been in church or been around church long enough to have Christ as one of the pillars in our lives. And having that is a start. But deciding what you like, what you don't like, what you're willing to accept or not willing to accept. Those are the simple things that we can do to protect ourselves. There's not only emotional, physical, financial, and a lot of other ways that people can hurt you. Even at your jobs, we're noticing a lot of things in my practice where people are coming in and saying that they're just losing their jobs. They worked for the federal government for 12 years and they got into a job and all of a sudden now they've been fired because they're not considered tenure people.
Yes.
So we are being, for the lack of a better word, attacked on all the fronts when it comes to being in unhealthy relationships. First, we've got to know what's our homeostasis, what makes us feel good, what gets us going every day, and then having someone to help you advocate for yourself. Sometimes that might be a therapist. It might be a family member. There are ways for us to communicate our thoughts, ideas, and desires without feeling like we're attacking others.
Right.
And that's the thing now, that we're really watching people and watching how they're reacting to things that are going on, because it doesn't feel safe out here anymore.
It doesn't. And would you say, thinking about that, angry black woman trope and the
Yes.
strong black woman trope, where we can, jump buildings and carry a car on our back and take care of the family. I guess eliminating those.
And you can, it's not an angry black woman. It's a woman that's passionate about something that
Yes, true.
she is, like, if I'm advocating for a child at a school, or I'm advocating for one of my children or for my partner, or I'm helping, I will help someone write something. My client said, well, someone stole something from my son's account with their debit card. Okay, let me help you craft a letter so that you're not on the phone yelling and screaming into the telephone. That's simple little ways for us to advocate for other people that look like us.
Yeah.
So it's not always just about us doing it. Again, about us leaning on the people around us.
Right, and I like what you said about, finding another way to do things. That there's definitely real fear. There's a lot of instability right now. And there's also a lot of fear-mongering. And a lot of that fear-mongering comes from what we're being bombarded with every day. The TV, the radio, the music, social media. And we spend a lot of time on social media.
We do.
Yeah.
We spend time laying in the bed when we should be trying to get that good night's sleep for our health. Just, they call it doom scrolling.
Yes.
Too much time.
And you see so much on there that it is actually changing how your brain functions, because it's an addiction and you start needing more and more of it. And so you see people on there telling you things that is good for you and you need this. And you're like, oh, let me get up in the morning, let me order something on Amazon, let me get this. But you don't really. You see people yelling and carrying on or trying to reason with you for things. You're like, you're right, I need to think that way. But you really need to go do good research to understand from trusted sources what's really happening in a lot of situations. Because a lot of people are also getting angry and turning on their own people. One of the biggest things our kids struggle with is resiliency and coping skills. And when their main source of information doesn't come from us as parents, as grandparents, as our church village, they're going to get their information elsewhere. And when things don't work out like they see in social media and on the TV, they get angry, they get confused, and they start joining other groups that they think support their thinking, which might be gangs, which might be just other bored folks in the neighborhood. They get into drugs, they get into guns, and they harm our own people, even your own family they harm, because they are not capable at this point of finding the good information that they need. So there's a lot of fear from our own community. But we have to be the ones to stand up and know what our children are into, know what they're watching, limit access to those things. And sometimes that's the hardest thing to say, give me your phone at night. Or no, you're not going out there where you want to go.
That can also start a fight.
That can also
the
start. And,
household.
a lot of people are afraid of the fight of our own kids.
Yes.
And that's why you have to start disciplining down here so that when they get here,
Right.
you're not afraid of your own kids.
Right.
Because there's a lot of fear of our own kids. But with everything else going in the world, we have to learn resiliency. We have to learn coping skills so that we can bring ourselves down and rationalize. We've got massage therapists here. We have licensed counselors here. There are people who can help you, that you can talk to, that are viable resources, rather than listening to all the mess that's out there, to instead help you work through your problems so you can find a way to either get that job back or find a new job, to find real medicine, doctors, other sources that can help you when you are ill, to help you with your mental health. Social media is not where we go to live our lives. It should not be where we go to live our lives.
Yes.
And those skills are so important because when I think about, how we are able to moderate our own emotions, that's when we can teach our kids. That's how we
Right.
model
Yes. They're watching.
resilience. Absolutely, coping skills is, we're our kids, our grandkids, the kids that we see in church, we are their first teachers. And so that's how they learn those skills, by watching us.
Yeah, that was what I was going to say in regards to attacks and tolerating domestic abuse. Some of us weren't built with strong family structures, and we don't have strong people that have built us up to have high self-esteem. And so sometimes we think we have to tolerate attacks and tolerate abuse from certain entities. But in that case, that's why you get in community. In the case, even when it's your kids that are intimidating you, you find a stronger figure. But you build yourself, and that's another justification for this platform, is that you have to have enough self-care and build yourself to the point where you're strong enough to face, because life is hard enough as it is. You're going to have opposition, whether it's internal in your family, whether it's, you know, at the job, whether it's in your own community, historically, politically. If you look at the news, you know, as black women, we've been ultimately rejected. I'm not even going to get on that platform, but, you know, another candidate that was not as qualified as a qualified black woman to the presidency. So even we have a lot that are at odds with us as black women. And so we have to build ourselves up, you know, to the point and have enough self-esteem to where we're strong enough to face whatever opposition, whatever attacks there is.
I love that. Yes.
Well, I'm glad you asked the spiritual source here, I guess. It's always to seek the voice of the Creator, because He's the one that's going to give you strength when no one else does. You know, that's why it's important to meditate and to know, you know, we're all, for the most part, Christian women, so know what the Bible says. And then talk to Him so that He can talk to you. And the joy of the Lord is your strength. I think most of us in here are a testament to that. There are a lot of us are standing because regardless of what it is that we face, we had the Most High whisper in our ear that you can take it and you can fight it.
Sure. Thank you.
I was going to say, I'll keep it brief. Basically, some of the things that you all touched upon, how it starts in the family. There is something that I did see on social media. It was a gift, and it was about a child telling their parent that they were depressed. And of course, in the black families, a lot of people don't know what depression is. So instead of trying to be with the child, try to see what the child needed, they told the child to depress your butt into the kitchen and wash them dishes. I'm like,
Okay.
But yeah, that's another thing. It breaks kids down.
Yes.
So another thing too, like when they said you build them up, like my daughter and I, we meditate. So meditation is a big thing in our household. Of course, we do pray, and sometimes she gets mad if she doesn't get to pray, so I'll let her do another prayer. But prayer is definitely big in our family, meditation and listening to your child so that, again, they won't feel like no one is listening to them, because they do act out. And again, too, like you all said, some of the kids, they act out. There are so many stories where the parents were afraid of the kid. They finally did something when the child is a teenager, and guess what? Now the parent is dead because you finally did something instead of starting as a young child. So.
Can I jump in real quick? I like how you asked, you know, how do you do that? How do you build yourself up? And we're talking about the 7 pillars of self-care here. And it serves as a good way to reevaluate, to take a look at those different pillars and see where you feel you struggle. You know, you're looking at your mental health. Do I feel like I'm struggling mentally? Am I overwrought with things emotionally? Physically, am I in good shape? Do I need some support there? If you look at those pillars and see where you can see some lack, and sometimes it's being real with yourself. It's really taking a deep look and saying, really, do I need some help? Because there's no shame in that. And taking each of those now, where can I find some resources? And if I don't know specifically where resources is, who might I talk to? You know, even if it's reaching out to someone right up here, it might be someone you've never met, and say, I'm struggling here. Where can I go to get some of that support I need? Because you'd be amazed how many of us just sitting here, right in here today, are struggling in one or more of those areas and want to reach out and don't know where. And so this is always a good starting point to take a look at that and see who you can go to. There are people out there who want to work with you and support you.
I have another thought. One of the things I want to stress is asking for help doesn't mean you're weak. It does not mean you're weak. It means that you understand that there's a lack and that there's a resource out there that can fill that lack.
And there's strength and vulnerability.
Yes, and being vulnerable is one thing that we, as a culture, we shy away from. We really shy away from it. And if we were to try to connect on those vulnerable places and talk about these pillars and financial and family and friends and spiritually and all those things, if we started that in the home early, whether it was successful day one for our children, we know that we've laid the groundwork and that they will one day come back to it, because once you plant something, it will grow. It may not grow that day or that season, but there is a chance that it will grow bigger and better than you expected. And everything starts from something small. So please ask, and Tara and anybody up here, they can connect you with every and anybody that you will ever need.
That's good
But
to know.
our community has it. We're just sometimes our ego gets in the way,
Yes.
and we think, oh my God, I don't want people to know I'm struggling financially.
Yeah.
I'll wait until I'm 6 months behind in my rent on my mortgage
Yes.
before I say something.
Yeah.
No, that's not the time
That's
to speak
true.
up. That is not the time to speak up. Speak up earlier, because people can help you with one mortgage payment versus six. So please be vulnerable and be okay with asking for help, because there are people out there that are willing to do it. Believe me, they are.
And would you say don't worry about the cost?
No.
Don't worry about how much it's going to cost you. If you know you need help, just ask for it. We can deal with that later. Yes.
Can I also, another answer to the question, how do you build yourself up too? I would say too, in addition to everything that's been said, to celebrate the small wins.
Yes.
It's like a bank, and I've heard this before. You put in the small deposits, and it builds up into, a strong account and a
Compound
strong
interest.
self-esteem. That's right. So start with the small things that you have accomplished, and they'll help you feel, a sense of morale about your abilities and your confidence. So don't forget to celebrate the small wins.
Yeah.
You woke up at a certain time than you normally, or, you did that one push-up, maybe you do 10 tomorrow, that type of thing.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, let's talk about the physical side of this coin here. Most of us are maturing, and as we mature, certain things change, and we need some assistance. We need some encouragement. We need that spiritual encouragement to know that we're doing a thing for our bodies as God would have us do, right?
Yeah.
Take care of His temple. So what would you give? Do you have any examples or advice that you can give to the audience and to us about stretching and exercising and moving our bodies so that we can take care of ourselves, so that we can do the things that are required of us?
So I actually do have a small little routine to teach everyone. It's real simple. Can y'all hear me without the mic?
No, it's
No,
not.
A little
okay.
louder.
Thank you, baby. All right, so, because I'm gonna need my hands, sorry. All right, so everybody spread out just a tiny bit, just to give yourself some space. Okay. All right, so we're gonna start with those 3 breaths. Relax, your weight, release. All right, so deep breath in and blow it out. I don't hear y'all blowing it out. Do it a little deeper. Blow it out. Okay, then one more. Deep breath. All right, so one of the first things we're gonna do, kind of gonna have like prayer hands. You're gonna push your palms together. That's just gonna get some of that tension off there. And you'll hold that for about 10 seconds. Okay? Then you're gonna take your hands. I hear a lot of cracking in here. And you'll hold that for about 10 seconds. And then you take it, split them apart. The easiest way to do it is to do it on the side, just so you can get all of your fingers. And I know you can probably feel all that tension in your forearms. Didn't realize how tight y'all were. Okay, and then you're gonna do it on the other side. And pull back as well. All right. Now you're gonna take your arm across. And then just pull it up into you. And you'll hold that for about 10 seconds. And if you do have a bad shoulder, don't worry about it. We'll do the other arm. All right, then switch. I know a lot of y'all probably like, I didn't realize I was this tight. But it's a lot. Okay. And then relax that. And then we're going to do a little bit on the legs. So really all you have to do is hold your leg up. You're going to point your foot down. Hold that for about 10 seconds. And then point it towards you. And a lot of you will probably start to feel it in your calf muscle.
Yes.
All right, we're going to do the other side. So point down. Okay, and then point up. And then two more things what we're going to do. I know some of y'all have nails, so if you have nails, just pinch here. If you don't have nails, you can take your thumb and you can pinch your actual trap muscle. And then you're going to turn your head to the opposite side. And if you do feel it go to the back of your head, that's just, it's a referred response. So it means you have tension on the other side as well. And if you want to get a deeper stretch, sometimes you can tilt your head down and then tilt your head up as well. And then you're going to do the other side. And then, of course, tilt down and up if you want a deeper stretch. And then the last thing we're going to do, we're going to love ourselves. Not conceited, but we're just going to love ourselves. So you're just going to squeeze. And this is just to help get more blood flow going. So you squeeze all the way down, then come back up. And then go back down again. Okay, just relax. Thank you. That's just a little morning routine to get you going.
Get you going.
Yeah.
Okay. It's helping that lymphatic
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
drainage.
All
get
of that.
going. Oh, that's great.
Can I just jump into that? How many people in here are familiar with doing a body scan or
Heard
just
about it.
checking in with yourself? Anybody?
Yes.
Okay. I encourage everyone, again, we are often, because of all the things we've already talked about, we are often in go mode. We get up and we just go. Some of us may stop and pray and meditate in the morning. I think, that may be the goal. But unfortunately, that doesn't always happen. Sometimes we might, throughout the day, just be feeling a particular way. Something hurts, something aches. I don't know what's going on. Do we ever stop and just check in to see how are we feeling? We tend to, I think the primary space or place in our body where we hold tension is in our shoulders. How many people, if you just kind of stop, and you don't have to raise your hand or say anything, but just stop and just see how your shoulders are feeling as you're sitting here. And so that's just one of the things that I just really encourage people to do every day is just stop. Have I eaten? Have I had enough water? Have I responded to somebody that I know is going to love on me and give me some validation and some encouragement in a time when I need that? Am I sitting a particular way at work or at my desk that doesn't necessarily serve my body well? And so I encourage people to just throughout the day, and it only may take a couple of seconds to just kind of check in with your body and see what you're feeling. Because our bodies speak to us. They're going to tell us what we need.
Yes.
And I think another thing that I'm going to give a little shout out to gardening here. Does anybody know what folks who live into their hundreds, almost all of them, have in common?
What is that?
They garden,
Gardening.
because gardening is movement. It doesn't mean you're out there with a shovel digging deep holes in the tractor and you're going through. Just simple movements in the garden, using a little rake, getting your hands in the soil. And I say that to say, not everybody's going to like gardening, but to get movement in your life, find something that you enjoy. We were talking about, as we were coming to the church this morning, there was a big race, a marathon. And my first thought was, I am not marathoning. I am not the person that is going to run 26 miles. I'm probably not going to walk that, but I do enjoy taking a walk through parks. I do enjoy getting my body up and moving, so find something that you enjoy doing and you never know where it will lead. My daughter and I, we are terrible at it, but we go play racquetball at the gym. We usually hit each other more at the ball than hitting the racket and the ball, but we're moving, we're laughing. So find something that you enjoy that gives you movement in your life. That movement is so important.
Movement for someone and that I would give as a mental health therapist is the movement doesn't have to be anything that's 15, 20, 30 minutes long. You could be at your desk working and you get up and you pass a wall, do 5 wall push-ups. 5 wall push-ups. Sit there, raise your legs 10 times. Do what along with breathing, as my friend said, we do 4 square breathing, where you breathe in on the count of 4, you hold it for 4 seconds, you breathe out for 4 seconds, and you will notice that your shoulders start to relax. As Tara said, that's where most of us hold our stresses. And so the breathing is one of the simplest ways for us to engage our body and to check in with our body. Most of us have jobs where we sit down a lot. Most of us have jobs where we sit down a lot. So if we're sitting, before you go, if you're getting up to get water, getting up to go to the bathroom, do something active. Stand by your desk and do 5 squats. They don't have to be pretty squats. Just do something to get the blood flowing in your thighs. Your thighs are the largest muscles in your body. And I know that because my son taught me that. But it's very simple, as we mentioned earlier on. It's the simple things that we build upon that get us where we're going. We don't get from South Carolina to New York just because we want to go. We first decide, plan a day, fill up the car, get the snacks, do everything, and as we go, every couple hours we stop, get gas, get food, use the restroom. It's a journey.
Yeah.
So don't think that, oh my God, I missed it today, so I'm all busted and I can't do anything. No. Say, this is my day off. This is the day, and if I take Saturdays off and I miss a Wednesday, okay, so this is my Saturday. That means Saturday I will have to do something, and it does not. Please don't let it be intimidating. We start small. When our kids were small, we taught them simple little things, and it built upon one another. Same thing goes for us. We learn by doing small changes. So engage in simple little things, breathing, body scanning, checking in with yourself. One of the things that I use a lot too is YouTube, those mindfulness apps. I have a lot. If anybody ever needs any, please let me know.
And they're free.
And they're free. There are some that you pay for, but I know about free ones. So please feel free to reach out to me, and I will get you those and your watches, your smart watches. You can set them to remind you and say something positive to you. Get up and move. You've been sitting for 35 minutes. Get up and shake a leg. So those are some of the things that I use in my practice that's physical, but also part of the mental health journey that we go on.
That's great.
Statistics will tell you that that it's actually a sedentary lifestyle that's more damaging than even smoking. I just wanted to remind, so I'm glad that this discussion is moving towards having a moving. So that's a challenge that personally I try to take on too. I used to have the Apple Watch when it first came out, and every hour it comes with that alarm that tells you, okay, stand up, you've been sitting too long. Now I don't have that anymore because it was annoying to me, but it's still, it's still a great reminder and something to remember. Or even if you have to set your own alarm on your own phone, we all have cell phones, just to kind of remind yourself, okay, just make sure that you're moving around, that you're breathing, that you're stretching.
And another thing I'll say is, and I tend to get in this mode, is we like to say to ourselves, I'm going to start Monday.
Procrastinating.
Or I'm going to start in the spring. And I started telling myself, you keep saying you're going to start. You're going to start. And then a year later, you're in the same place that you were a year ago when you said you were going to start. And so we spend a lot of time waiting for the right temperature outside, waiting for the right day of the week, waiting till I go to the store and I buy all the equipment when it's on sale. And all that wait time passes when you could have done some wall push-ups. You could have walked around your block. You could have done some deep breathing. So don't let time get you.
I'm a huge proponent of small goals, right? We are a society that thrives and that celebrates big goals, doing big things. And so when we think about goals, if my goal is to run a marathon, like my friend Georgia, you know, chances are that's probably not going to happen, right? I'm not a runner. My knees won't allow me to be great. But if my goal is to walk for 5 minutes, I can do that. I can walk for 5 minutes. I can go out and play with my kid for 10 minutes. And so when you think about setting up goals, make them manageable. If anything, I would actually set small goals. I would not do lofty things, because chances are, if you set a goal to do 10 push-ups and you haven't been active in 20 years, chances are you're probably not going to be able to manage those 10 push-ups, which is going to set you up for failure. So think about doing things. Just start. 1 foot, you know, people like to say, you know, put one foot in front of the other. And it really is that simple. Just do something. It doesn't have to be a lofty goal to get you going.
All right, that's all very good advice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's transition to this spiritual pillar. How do we lean into or activate the gift of discernment when we are in a social environment and that does not allow, how do we lean into or activate the gift of discernment when we are in a social environment that does not align with who you are in terms of your spiritual self?
Well, the first thing to do, and it cannot be said too often, even though it's often seen as a cliche, but pray. Seriously, because what prayer does, it activates communication with the source. I think a lot of times we put too much onus on what we can do, and what our skill set is, and our creativity, without addressing the Creator first. And so always realize that discernment is actually a gift. And so what that means is someone gives it to you. And so you have to access the source of the gift so that you can have discernment to do anything. But it is important that you know how to distinguish between, you know, what's in character as a child of God and what should be out of character. And so that's the first thing. I just say to pray and listen for what he has to say to you. And so sometimes we have to realize that we are in the world, but we shouldn't be of it. And that's a cliche, but a lot of times we like to assimilate, even in church when we try to do what we call evangelize to the outside world. A lot of times we do that by becoming like the outside world, and that's not the case. We're supposed to be the salt of the earth, so we're supposed to be set apart, and we're supposed to be holy, and we're supposed to be strong enough within ourselves as much as we can without relying on the source, so that we can have an impact on the outside world. I hope
To
that
nurture
makes
that gift.
Is it easy to be approachable as we are practicing the gift of discernment? What about that person maybe at work that's not
not a believer.
Right.
And so now it's getting harder and harder because laws are set against, witnessing to people. But there's a way to witness. I feel like if you start with your own conduct and let them see you, we like to say, especially in Bible study, sometimes we're the only Bible that some people will read. And so, we have to be in alignment with him and demonstrate that in our character. And so it's not so much as, even though you're about being set apart, about being living holy as you possibly can, as humanly possible, but you can't be so heavenly bound that you know earthly good. And so it's still important to have relationship with people, because you still need people on the job, you still need help to do that task. And you still have to be a person that can speak in English and not necessarily always in tongues, and I'm blessed and highly favored, this, that, and the third, because you want to be received. You want your message to be interpreted. And if it's not, if you position yourself so that you are lofty, you won't be approachable, and people will not want to hear what you have to say. So you keep that in mind, to learn people, learn the culture of the office, learn the culture of, wherever you are, so that you're able to communicate and operate within that context.
I think for me, the Lord is working with me on patience. That's been my whole life journey, trying to figure out the whole patience thing. I have road rage. I'm not going to lie. I do not like being in traffic. That's why I don't live in somewhere like Atlanta or anything, because it's a waste of time. But I found myself, you're praying. My daughter will ask often, who are you talking to in the garden?
Yeah.
It's because in the garden, I'm closest to my Father.
Right.
And I talk with him constantly there. But I also find myself talking to him constantly in anything that I'm doing. But I also read my Bible because there's context in there.
Yeah.
That's real life to what we live with now. And so you know the context. You can pray from that foundation. And then remember, there used to be these little rubber bracelets everyone had. What would Jesus do? Mm-hmm. I have a question I ask myself, what do you know to do? Mm-hmm. And I stop and I ask myself. So in the midst of being angry at somebody who's driving 12 miles an hour in front of me, and I want to honk my horn and, and look at them angrily, number one, I understand, honestly, they don't care that I'm mad.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But my behavior could make a difference because I could cause an accident.
Right.
I could disrupt them because it might be a person older than me just trying to get to the grocery store. And why am I angry at them? Doesn't do me any good. So I have to stop and I have to say, all right, Father, what do I know to do that you have taught me to do? And that helps me a lot with my discernment. And that's how I've raised my children, that other people are going to do what they do. And you want to have good relationships, but you are best being your authentic self and showing who you are, where your foundations lay. And if those people are meant to come to you, they're going to come to you. And so that's how I've chosen to live my life and to raise my children.
One of the things that I sometimes say to my to my family and my friends, the people in my head, they're talking to me. And what I mean by that, they're my emotions. And those are things that were given to me by my higher power. That's part of my spiritual journey. I sometimes need to figure out how to harness that. Like you said, when you're in traffic or you go to the doctor and they say, come on a particular day, and you go on that particular day at the particular time, and then everybody looks like you have 3 heads. And you're like, well, you told me this. You called me, you said to come and to do this. Like you said, I have to decide and I have to model for the people around me and the people that I'm in that office with. Yes, I'm frustrated, and I can get in the car and I can be angry in my car. But to always reflect on, just like you said, what would Jesus do? We never think about what we do and how other people see us when we're out. We all have a conscience. We all have feelings, and we all have a connection to a higher power. It might not be the same as mine, but that doesn't mean that you can't connect to it. And if you ask for help and the discernment, it happens. You just have to be quiet enough to listen and wait. Because we're automatic helpers, we figure we're going to figure our way out of everything. And we're going to keep doing until it's all done. It'll never be all done. There's nothing that we can do that will ever be all done. And that's a thing that we have to get away from, figuring that if I don't do it, somebody else will not do it. Breathe.
That's gonna lower most of our stress right there. Once
You
we
just
can
need to
acknowledge that.
breathe. You just need to breathe because like you said, your body tells you, okay, you're in the car and your shoulders go up and you just start to crunch over. Okay, just sit back, relax. This may be saving me from a car accident. This may be saving me from running a light, being involved in something. Take time to assess really quickly. I don't have to be there because I'm not a heart surgeon. I'm not a brain surgeon. I'm not rushing anywhere. I'm helping somebody else out, but discerning what's really important to us and what's best for us, because I am a fellow angry driver also. And so I have to catch myself. It's like, these people don't know that, like, we left the house late and we're late. Again, time management, as we mentioned earlier, knowing what we have to do and giving ourselves grace. We will give everybody grace and then look ourselves in the mirror and go, we've not done enough and we've not worked hard enough. So be mindful. The kids are looking, other people are looking, and he's looking, whoever the he is or she is to you.
And that goes back so much to what you were saying, Reverend Malillian, is we minister to others just through our behavior. You know, you never know how you impact someone else's choice to do something or not to do something just based on how they see you acting. And so I'm always mindful of that.
That behavior, that energy. I mean, a lot of us talk about energy in a room when a person comes in. It's spiritual in it. So, yes. So a person comes in a room that's otherwise tranquil, everything's going along well, and then that one person walks in
Contagious.
and changes the entire climate. So,
Right, absolutely.
Only thing I was gonna say, I am also a road rager,
Oh.
but it's a lot better than what it used to
well, that's
be.
good to hear.
The thing that changed for me was it was somebody that made me miss that red light. I was just, well, made me miss the green light, I should say. It was yellow, and we would have made it. But I got stopped. But I am glad I got stopped because not less than 30 seconds later, car accident. That same car that made me miss that light was in that car accident. So that's what made me like, all right, Lord, let me tone it down just a little bit. So yeah, road rage is definitely a bad thing, but it's getting better for both of y'all too, because it's getting better for me, and I have faith. It's gonna get better. But yeah, emotions, spiritual, everything, and then along with the hearts. One thing that people don't realize, the hearts are the first thing that communicate in the body. So a lot of times that discernment too is your heart communicating with somebody else's heart, and you can usually tell if somebody has a bad heart. So that's my take on that.
Okay.
Leaning into, again, we're talking about the spiritual, and I've heard, there was some conversation about boundaries. And this may be a loaded question, this may be a little challenging. How do we keep ourselves from overcommitting in church, in organizations, and sometimes with family activities? Because again, we all have multiple hats that we wear. We're parents, we're grandparents. We serve in and lead ministries in church, some of us in sorority and fraternal organizations. How do we nurture ourselves? How do we take care of ourselves, but while still setting boundaries with all of those other spaces that we work in?
No is a complete sentence.
Period.
There it goes. It has a period.
Period.
I am probably the biggest overdoer. I want to be involved in everything. I always see a way that, hey, maybe I can help something here. But you have to say no. And it doesn't have to be mean. Thank you for asking me. I'm just not available at that time. I'd like to, maybe some other time, give room for other opportunities. But you have to say no. And that includes to your family. That includes to your family, because some people will take advantage of you. And when you say no, it gives other people the opportunity to step up and say yes, or the opportunity to step up and learn something that you have been doing. Because sometimes we're meant to start something and teach and lead and step back
And thought about it that way.
and let somebody else step in and start doing.
Oh, I like that.
So I don't like saying no. I'm getting better at it. But no is a complete sentence. Use it.
That's nice.
I was gonna say, one thing my dad taught me when I was younger, there were 3 places I wanted to go. 2 of them started at the same time. One was in Rock Hill, one was down here in Columbia, and I think one was in Lancaster. And I was so confused as to which place to go to, and I went to my daddy for advice, very wise man. And he's just like, honey, the best way to please everybody is to please everybody. And I'm just like, what? I was like, what kind of sense does that make? He was like, exactly. It can't be done. So that's the first time that I was like, So again, no is a complete sentence. So I did have to start saying no. Now, as I became an adult, I started saying yes too many times. So right now, I am relearning how to say no. So, yeah.
One of the ways that I teach my clients how to say no is I say sometimes people call you or they text you. Do not answer right away. Sit with it and ask yourself the question, do I want to do this? And watch what your body does, because your body will let you know. Your body answers all the questions, and like you said, it starts from the heart. Because if you're not going to do something from the heart, why do it anyway? Why do it? And I don't have to be at the church or at sorority or any organization 7 days a week. I can design it the way I want to. in the springtime when the sorority may have all their things, that's the time of the year that I put towards them. During the holiday seasons, what I give to the church, and then this is what I give to the school or to any other, or divvy it up. And like they said, if you don't do it, somebody else will
That's
do
right.
it. And because you are taking care of yourself, you can give to all these organizations enough, and along with other people helping out, all the needs will be met. We're not put here to meet everybody's needs. I'm not even here to meet all my husband's needs. That is a thing that I think we get stuck on. As human beings, we think that we'll help everybody. We're not supposed to help everybody. We are not supposed to do it. And boundaries are supposed to be very clear and concise. And saying no is, I'll answer back in a text. No, just like you said, no, my calendar is booked on that day. I will let people leave voice messages, because saying no was a scary thing for a people pleaser like me. My husband was frustrated. He was like, you are in and out the door. It's like a revolving door in the house, and everybody's getting a part of you but me and our sons. And it stumped me when he said that. And I was early in my marriage, and people pleasing, I learned that from my mother. And she loves to help, because it does feel good. It does feel wonderful. But if you think for a minute and you go, okay, am I doing this because it's from the heart, or am I doing this because I feel obligated?
Yeah.
Obligation is a thing that will cause you to be stressed out, angry, mad, and you're
Resentful.
sitting there doing something and not doing it from a place of, I am being of service. Because we are all here to be of service.
That's right.
Every one of us. We might not have a job that says, oh, you're a service person, but we're here to be of service. And so learning and using simple little things, like my husband and I, we use our phones and we check in, okay, we got an appointment that day, we got an appointment that day, okay, can you do this, can you do that? And there's a check system. Like when Tara said, hey, are you free? Let me check my schedule. I would love to do it, but let me check my schedule and my spouse's schedule and my kids and my grandkids' schedule. So there's a lot of schedules that I keep up with, but am I obligated anywhere else before I commit to something? And so I did this from a place of genuinely wanting to be of service.
Yeah. I like that.
When you think of boundaries, I always think of a story that she told me, and you picture yourself in a dark room. You were brought to it blindfolded. You're put in a dark room. There's no light. They take the blindfold off. What's the first thing you do? Some of you may scream, but what's the first thing that you do? You reach out, and what are you looking for?
Boundaries.
You're trying to find a wall, a door, or something, because without that, you're lost. So we need boundaries. Our kids need boundaries. So overcommitting, telling people no, it applies to our families too. It applies to our families. We need boundaries in order for us to set some guidance, some structure in our life so that we don't overdo it.
What you're speaking about, I'm experiencing right now. Setting that boundary. The best thing in the world, I thought, I retired. They tell me, you're not going to stop. You go every place, everywhere. And I'm telling myself, I'm not you. I'm going to stay at home. I'm going to do this. Well, I retired last year, and I haven't been at home. First of all, I'm thankful because of a medical issue I went through, so I'm grateful. So I'm giving back. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. So I committed to some things. And yes, saying no, how do you say no when you commit? Because I'm that person, when I commit, I'm committed. So last night, I struggled with myself because I wanted to be here, and then I looked, I'm like, God, I got all of this thing to do at home that I haven't done. I was going to do it since Monday. Then Tuesday, I told myself, I'll just sit, don't do nothing, don't answer the phone, don't do anything. That was my day. I took it. Then here come Wednesday. Then here's Thursday. I had a beautiful day. It was my birthday. Then I committed to Friday. Somebody was going to take me. We traveled. We went someplace. That was beautiful. I wanted to be here because I needed to be here. So the things, I woke up this morning, and I told myself, because last night I wasn't coming, I got to do all of this. I woke up, and I knew it was God. Put your clothes on and go to that church. And this is where I am. And the things are at home I still need to do. It's going to be there. And I have to confront myself. When am I going to get it done? Even if I go back home and I sit down, it's going to get done one day. Even if I don't do it today, it's going to get done. And that's what I have to tell myself. So I'm struggling with what you're just saying. It's real. It's real. It's real. And that retired person got to know when to say no.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, no, in that struggle, one of the hardest things can be, especially when you're involved in a lot of things, is prioritizing. And, like Georgia said, what is important to you? What means something to you? Family? Whether you have a husband or not, whether you have kids or not, there's other family members. Whether there are obligations you feel that you've served for years and years, is that still a priority? Or can you move out the way for someone else to step in? What means something to you? What is your purpose? And many times things will be put in front of you, and as you start moving in directions, your Father will lead you in that direction that you need to go by putting more in that direction for you. So using that discernment, prioritizing, and move where your heart is taking you.
I was going to ask Ms. Venus what was the commitment she made to herself. I think that's the question we all have to ask. Like, what the commitment to us is to have that cup full enough so that you can, as we mentioned, like help everyone else. And sometimes we have to be self-aware enough to realize how things are impacting us because we're always doing, right? And that's why the breathing is important because stress is very sneaky. Like sometimes, that's why we have to pay attention to our bodies because we planned this full plate and we want to accomplish all this stuff, but sometimes that's just not for us to do. We can't do everything. We're not superwomen, super women. And so we just have to realize that, if sometimes that's why strokes happen. That's why aneurysms, I'm not trying to scare anyone, but people are so focused on getting things done, but they're denying their physical. They're denying the fact that they need to be maintaining a certain peace, mental health. And the stuff can't get done if you're not taking care of yourself. And you don't know how to, kind of limit your activity and put those boundaries there.
And let me say, you are super women, all of us, for saying no and prioritizing your health.
Yep.
You are all super women and some super men here too.
I heard a couple people use the term superwoman, excuse me, and keeping the peace. And when I think about keeping the peace and sometimes having difficulty saying no, a lot of times we do it because we're trying to keep the peace around us. We want everybody to be okay. We want people to like us. But when I think about keeping the peace around me, but there's no peace in me, again, that's counter to what we're talking about. It's counter to self-care. And so when you think about, excuse me, if you are doing things and saying things to make everybody else happy, and you're not happy, then you got to look at that. You have to look at the motivation behind why you keep saying yes and keep overcommitting.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay. All right, can we move on to environmental? Talk a little bit about the environment. Can you all provide any environmentally positive suggestions for us to use inside our homes, outside our homes, and any, how we plants that maybe we could use, any type of lighting or feng shui, I don't know, something that we could do to make our homes more environmentally supportive.
Oh, no, that's your question.
So, a lot of us, again, will go to social media, magazines, and all to get pictures of what a home should look like. Put all that aside. What is comfortable in your home? What makes you happy in your home? You might see something that's on a magazine cover, but does that really make you happy and comfortable in your space? So that's number one. You need to find joy in your home. Number two, one of the hardest things to deal with is clutter. We tend to overbuy. We tend to overconsume. We see a sale and, like paper towels are never going to go on sale again, and we go buy 20 packs of them, then you got to figure out a place to put it in your home. So over-cluttering your home is usually not good because that also affects your mentality.
Yeah.
I'm a person that if I'm in my office and I have it set up and everything's neat, but sometimes I've got an event and stuff starts piling up. I have to clear that clutter before I can physically work again. Clutter also affects your children. When children live in cluttered spaces, it's difficult for them to self-regulate, to settle themselves down. There are a number of things in our home. There are plants you can put in that actually help to clear the air. And for those people who say that they've got, not a green thumb, some people say I've got a black thumb. Black thumb can be good too. A lot of you have heard of a snake plant.
Yes.
Or a mother-in-law
Mother-in-law's
tongue. Yeah. I had a wonderful mother-in-law, so I would call it a snake plant. But they don't need a lot of light at all, so they don't have to be by a window. They don't need a lot of water, so for those of you who forget to water your plants, you just put it in the room. NASA actually has shown that if you put 5 of these in a room, it will keep the air clean so that people can breathe it.
Wow.
So snake plants are great for those. Plants also add beauty. There's a plant that's called a pothos. Pothos, you've probably seen them in every doctor's office you've ever been in. Kind of vines, has pretty heart-shaped leaves.
Yes.
Again, very forgiving because you don't have to water it often, and if you water it, it'll just spring back to life. So that's one of those things that's almost impossible to kill. So any plant that you put in your home helps to clear the oxygen. Another thing that I like to caution people on is the things that you clean your home with. As you see right now, there are some changes being made in terms of the chemicals being put in our food,
Right.
but you also be cognizant of the chemicals that are put in your cleaning ingredients. They have shown a lot of people love air fresheners and those little plug-ins. Number one, those plug-ins are a fire hazard. A lot of insurance companies are not insurancing and putting insurance on your home anymore if you use those plug-ins. But also the artificial scents from those, they have found in people's livers when they die. So if they have to open you up, that smell comes from your body.
Wow.
And it's not a good thing. It's all artificial. So if you have to use something that's natural. There are a lot of essential oils that you can use. You can use them in the little spray humidifiers, and they're much better for you because not only are they better physically for you, but they're better mentally for you as well. If you use peppermint in your home, peppermint actually happens to wake you up and make you feel good. Lavender, for those people who struggle falling asleep or need to be calm, lavender and lemons calm you down. So using some of those natural essential oils help to freshen your home, but also help you mentally and physically.
And would you
So-
also say that those things also help with spiders? I think,
Spiders do not like peppermint.
Mosquitoes and
Mice do not like peppermint. Any strong herbs, lavender, lemon balms, lemongrass, peppermints, all of the strong smelling basils, oreganos, insects do not like them. We think that mosquitoes just don't like citronella. They don't like any strong smelling herbs. So you can put them around your front porch where you sit. You can put them in your house even, and they keep a lot of critters out your house. Roaches like anything, so there's not a whole lot that's going to help that. Roaches will probably eat it and they'll just keep going, yeah. But this is the time field mice like to try and get in your house. Put it around your doorways. They don't like peppermint at all, so that keeps them away. So another good thing is using any outdoor space that you have on a daily basis. We need to be in the sun. If we get that vitamin C, you have to have vitamin D in order for this vitamin C to work in your body. So getting outside, fresh air and sunlight, spend some time, 15 minutes outside every day, that's also a mood lifter. It makes you want to get going, do things in your life, and it makes you feel better physically.
Yes.
But yeah, trying to keep your home, being cognizant of the ingredients that you use in your home, in your food, cleaning products, even what you wash your clothes in. All these highly fragrant things are not good for your body. So some of those changes in your home makes everyone feel better in there.
That's great.
To Dr. Kershaw's point, there is an app that I've discovered recently. It's called the Yucca app. It's a free app if anybody is familiar with it. And what it does is you can actually scan products. You can scan food, you can scan products, and it'll tell you about the additives, the toxins, and it'll actually rate items. So you can scan a box of cereal, for example, or a soap, and it'll give it a rating of between 0 and 100 and tell you how healthy that product is. So it's also something that you can use to kind of figure out, if these are products that you want to buy and have in your home.
You said that's yucca. How do you spell that?
YUKA.
Y-U-K-A.
I use it as well.
Oh, you did?
I do.
Okay.
I was going to say also, in addition to you scanning it, down at the bottom, it'll give you alternates that you could use.
Oh,
So it'll
nice.
give you healthy options.
That's good to know.
Yeah. And then also with environmental, when you're talking about the oils, I use essential oils in my practice. One of the brands that I do use is Simply Earth. They're all organic, cold pressed, which is great. But lavender definitely is one of my top ones. Lavender, and I use a lot of lemongrass and peppermint for headaches and also for scalp massages.
Absolutely, yeah, they help a lot
That's
with
wonderful.
migraines as well, yeah. And a lot of people like to grow herbs inside. Don't get frustrated when they die. Herbs are just happier outside. You see the
really?
cute little jars online, your mason jars, and put some rocks at the bottom and put your herb in it.
Yes.
Don't do that. Don't do that. It's going to be alive for a little bit, but if you just get you a simple little pot outside, they are much happier outside, and they will keep coming back year after year. You don't have to keep rebuying these things unless you kill them keeping it in your house in the
I
kitchen.
see. Anything works for lizards? You have lizards around.
I like the lizards,
Oh.
and the lizards unfortunately attract the snakes, as the mice do, because that's what they eat. There's no way to keep the little lizards away and out your house. Just keep your screen door closed.
Keep it closed.
Yeah, there's not much they don't like either.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay.
One of the things that I remind my clients, my kids, even my friends, my home is my sanctuary. I am very particular about who I let into my home. My home is a place where when I get off from work or I come home from work or I come from a trip, that I can just drop my bags, put on some warm white fuzzy socks, any color outfit, and I can just be. I don't have to be anything for anyone. And that environment starts along with decluttering, having a place for everything. When you walk in, your pocketbook goes to the same place, your keys go to the same place. I struggle with the cell phone thing. I lose it my husband is like, I don't know where I last saw it at. But having organization, going through your closets, decluttering. If you've not worn your outfit or a shirt or a pair of pants in a year, you're not going to wear it. And we hold on to, when I get skinny, when I do this, when I do that, I tried on a pair of shoes to come today, and I've had them for so long, they started to deteriorate. So yes, even I don't do what I'm supposed to do. But when I get back home today and tomorrow, I will be decluttering shoes that no longer serve me. And the ones that are in good shape, I can take that someplace and that be a blessing to someone else. Serving ourselves also means letting go of things and having things to give to other people. Sometimes people can't afford it.
Right.
And the things you're holding on to, these pair of jeans that you brought that, when I get to this size 6, and you're a size 14, and there's nothing wrong with that number. It's embracing what you are, and then if you want to do something about it, then you do. But you have to start from a place of where am I, and understanding that wherever I need to go, it's a process. Self-love, the journey of being financially free, the journey of having great relationships in organizations that I am. It's all a process, and we take it and we do it. Like you, I use the essential oils with the humidifiers in my office. I have a sea salt lamp that I keep in my office because I am doing therapy with people, and I do therapy from my home. My whole practice is online. So there are energies that are coming through the computer that I have to make sure that I'm addressing. And so my office has all these things in there, different kind of mood lighting and everything, because it's important. And then it has a place for me to decompress before I go back out into the other parts of the home and take that negative energy back into, because quite a few of us now work from home. And how do you have that delineation? I have a close sign on my door. I'm in a meeting, I'm on phone calls, I'm doing paperwork, so that the people that are in my home can respect that space, and then I can respect the other places in the home as that they should be. My living room is the place where I live. My TV, all those places. I'm not sitting there with my laptop trying to work and bringing negative energy. And again, not everyone should have access to you or your home. And I know that may sound negative, but it's not. And if you learn to listen to your body and read people, you'll know we're good out here, but we're not good in my home. It's not in my car. And keeping a less than presentable car. I've looked at some cars and go, are they living in their car? Not being judgmental, wondering, why is this here? What is going on in their lives that's causing them to not care for themselves? So let's think about those things when we're thinking about our environment, our car, our homes, whether we work from home, whether it's in our offices where we work at. Is it a place that you go and at least in the morning it's very quiet, I can have a cup of coffee, I can prepare to work, and at the end of the day, close everything down as you prepare to head home and to leave. I have a box, an imaginary box, when I used to work in the school system, and I would dump my work from the day in that box. I would have people on speed dial, and they knew if I called them and they didn't answer, don't call me back. I need somebody to help me bridge the gap between home and work and to help me unencumber myself from work. And so that was one thing. And when my friend said, am I on the list tomorrow? Yes, you're first on the list tomorrow. Because it helps so much. And these friends knew nothing about social work, nothing about therapy, but they allowed me a safe place to go. And by the time I got home, if I didn't already dump it, I had another imaginary box, and I would dump it there, and I wouldn't take any work stuff in my home. Learn how to not take your work home with you, because your home is a sanctuary.
And you know, there's so much inspiring information here. Y'all, don't be like my sister-in-law. Don't go home and pull everything out your cabinets and worse, saying, you know, say, I'm going to clean all this up. It's baby steps.
Baby
You know,
steps.
I'm going through the process. Microplastics are a big thing right now, that I'm pulling all the plastic out of my home, but I didn't open up all my cabinets and pull all the plastic out, little by little, step by step.
Okay.
And you start to feel better, and you start to see what direction you want to go.
Nice.
So
Yes.
change one thing out at a time, little by little.
Great. I think we have about 4 more minutes before we go into Q&A. So our audience participation Q&A. So is there anything else, Ted, that you want to, any other questions you have?
No.
I've got something I want to say.
Okay.
Going back to the physical, sorry. One of the things, so my number today, and there's no particular order for the pillars, but today my number was 4 for physical and then 5 for recreational. And what a lot of people don't realize, 4 represents foundation. And I wanted to tie it back to the Bible. So with that, of course, the 7 days with the creation of the world. But in the first 4 days, there was light, the atmosphere, the firmament, the dry ground and the plants, and then the sun, moon, and the stars. So what that was the base, so the foundation for those 4 corners, strong foundation, holds you up. That was the foundation that God laid before he added things to his foundation. So on that 5th, 6th, and 7th day, you had the birds, the sea, and the creatures, the land animals, and the humans. And then on day 7, he rested, which is also the day of completion. 7 means completion, so on day 7, he rested. And with recreational, 5 actually means balance. So that was another thing, too, when we were talking about how people are pouring from that empty cup. My mom has always said, too, you can't pour from an empty cup. So if you keep pouring from an empty cup, your cup is dry, you're going to be dehydrated, and more than likely going to pass out, go to the hospital and stuff like that. But some of the hobbies that you can do to keep yourself recreational: reading, writing, puzzles. I'm an avid puzzle lover, 1,000 pieces or more. Traveling, and of course, massages. And back to physical, a lot of people don't realize that nutrition goes into your physical. So it's not just working out, it's nutritional, making sure you have enough water and stuff. In order to pour from that cup, you have to drink some water. But yeah, pouring out from there, just more than just working out and stuff like that. But those are just the 2 of the things that I wanted to add to that.
Thank you for that, Courtney. We're going to get ready to transition into our question and answer piece, but I just wanted to allow Dr. Kershaw a little bit of time to talk about one of her endeavors before we transition to questions and answers.
Thank you. So we've been blessed at Joyful Souls with something that's been on my heart for about 2 years. It's something that I saw happening in Detroit and Atlanta, and that was a food forest for the community where they could come get free food. And I was granted 2 acres of land as of recently, in which we are calling the Grow Farm, in which we are creating at the end of Monticello Road, about a mile past Eau Claire High. We're creating a food forest for the community there. And it's also going to be a sustainable growing education hub. So we're going to be doing workshops on how to grow, in any space. Like I said, I don't care if you've got Thrive 5 acres or a pot on your porch, you can grow some food. But also horticulture therapy, where you can come and just learn to relax in the garden. Volunteer opportunities for those who might want to come put their hands in some soil and plant some things or tend to a garden. And wellness opportunities. So we're collaborating with about 12 other organizations to do health, wellness, yoga type of activities there. And we're also going to be doing job skills for those who are interested in working in that area of horticulture and agriculture. There's not a whole lot of certifications in the area, so we're working on our certification so that you have something viable to go and say, especially these young folks, you know, I'd like to work at a nursery, and I'm trained to do that. So it's going to be totally community-centered. We're doing a launch on the 19th where we have some seedling sales. We're doing a free workshop on gardening. For those of you who like Nadia Rutherford, our county coroner, she's a lot of fun. She's actually doing the ribbon cutting there, but we have the support of our government and a lot of the local citizens who are coming to help us. So I invite you to come out. It's 216 Singleton Drive, and I'll send that address on with some information for any of you who would just like to come out and enjoy being in a garden.
And I just, Dr. Kershaw, would you just provide the name of your website? Our First Nazareth Girl Scouts had the wonderful opportunity to attend one of her workshops. She does amazing work, and I just want to make sure that the website is known.
So it's joyfulsoulsnursery.com. And the event she spoke of was we do a free garden bucket event where we teach kids how to grow a whole vegetable garden in a bucket. It's free. We provide all of the things that they need to do that, plus we give them books, we give lunch, and a bag of tools that they can take home, and we'll be doing that again in May. So if you've got kids who want to come and have some fun, learn to grow, we're going to be doing that event again in May. So it's May 10th is going to be the bucket event. The launch of the Grow Farm, that will be April 19th. April 9th, from 9 to 11. Thank you.
Okay, I think we are going to transition into a question and answer period.
First of all, ladies, you have done a marvelous job today. You really have. I'm like Venus. I was trying to think of other things that I could do, and they said it was going to be on Facebook. And I'm like, I could get in my garden. I could put the phone over there somewhere and Facebook and garden at the same time. There's something about showing up with your sisters because there's so many distractions. Can you all talk about concentrating? Because I'm having trouble with that, concentrating, because there's so many other things that I want to do that I end up doing a half job on the other things because I'm trying to be present or put it on Facebook or, you know, putting it off.
That's funny. One of the things that I have actually written on my sheet is being present. We see so many folks who, and these phones we have, tablets, access to that is one of the biggest distractors. And also in our minds, what all we need to do. I haven't done this. I need to go pick somebody up. I didn't check on this. You know, did I eat my carrots today? And you have to get in a mindset where you understand that if you stop for a minute and focus in on something that you want to focus in on, you're not missing out. Our brains right now are trained to think that we have to constantly be on the go, that we have to constantly have information on, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, the TV, the radio, the music, someone telling us about what's going on. And we have to allow ourselves to say, okay, this is where I need to be. And all that stuff, I can get anything that's important later on. And it really is a training of your mind. Some people like to start to meditate, which can also be hard for people if your mind is always going. You have to make it a physical practice to say, okay, for 5 minutes, I'm turning off my phone. I'm not answering my phone if it rings. And I'm going to let anybody around me know I'm taking 5 minutes. Please don't disturb me. On my job, I also work from home. And even remotely, you'd be amazed how people can interfere with what you need to do. And so we've made it a common practice that we're put focus time on our calendar, and no one is allowed to disturb us. And you need to make focus time a rule in your life. And sometimes that focus time is you cutting off. You know, when you go to dinner with your family, that should be present time, in the moment, because you're setting an example for others in your family. We used to talk at the table. And when you talked, you learned about important things going on in people's lives, things that mattered to them. Put down your phones, allow your time, focus time, and make that a regular practice.
One of the things that it just brought back to my mind, both my sons are grown and gone, and one of the things that we used to do when we attended church service on Sunday is we would have a family caucus. We would go to Lizard Thicket, we would eat at Brooklyn Baptist, we would eat somewhere. And we also gave them that space. We gave them a safe space where if they had done something wrong or done something that they know was outside of our value system, that was a safe place for them to talk about it with us. And that allowed the relationship to foster into. My kids are in their 30s now, and they still call, and we still talk about stuff. I have my children's ears, and as parents and grandparents, we need to make sure that we're talking to our family members. As she said, setting down the phone. I have to sometimes leave my phone downstairs or upstairs, and my husband's like, "You don't have your phone?" "No, I don't have it," because I know that it's an automatic distraction. And one of the things I do is now I can't sit and read a book. And there's some people that comprehension isn't there for them. That doesn't mean that they can't read. I do, which is not really multitasking, but I call it multitasking. I walk and I listen to a book. I'm outside getting sun, I'm listening to a book, and I'm getting physical exercise. And so that's my focus time to be by myself. Me and my husband live together, and we walk separately because that's his spiritual time for him and his higher power. And I think we've been walking back again for 3 weeks now, and yesterday was the first time we walked together. So then that's the time for us to connect. But a family caucus or a family meeting or anything, you can do it over dinner, you can do it over anything. You need to have your children's ears, and you need to get a basket and put all the electronics in there because you're teaching them.
Yeah.
Because again, Tara mentioned this, we are teachers. We're here to be of service. We get lost in the thing of, oh, we've got to be there. I bet you there are about maybe 15 to 20 master's degrees in just this room. If we were to tap into outside of the room, we're the most educated group in the world. And that's done and said by research. Those things are important, but family and connection and focusing on, I'm here, because I had my phone and it went off and it lit. So I took it and I just pointed it down so I can't be distracted, because I forgot to put it in my bag because it was something on there I wanted to read. But we have to intentionally put stuff down. And she said, start small, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I'll tell somebody, if you're going to start exercise, just stand there and do something, walk in place for a minute. It's not hard. I think it's hard when we decide that we want to be someplace without doing the work to get there. That's where we get stuck at.
Good morning. I think my wife is Georgia, and she's wonderful. But one of the things I think that she and I do a lot is everything that they say is absolutely on point. One of the things that pour gas on it is making sure your finances are in order and things are moving to where your money is growing. Could you address that, please?
Well, as two real estate agents are sitting in front of you, financial, and not to be, of course, spirituality speaks against being too overly concerned with riches and amassing wealth, right? You don't want to do that because your reward is in heaven, right? But on earth, where you still need to eat and you still need to, pay bills and have utilities and that type of thing, it's important to have your financial house in order. And to make sure if there's any kind of major purchase you like to make, if it's a house, if it's a car, if it's maybe you want to finance a piece of jewelry, you're going to have a decent credit score. and having assets amassed to a certain level that's going to show that you are financially healthy. So it's important to make those steps, and of course, from a spiritual perspective, whatever source of income that you have, be it a job, employment, self-employment, it's always important to tithe because, and I think a lot of us in here are witnesses that tithing works. That when you take, 10 cents out of every dollar that you do make, really none of it belongs to us. We're only stewards of the income that we receive, but, God only asks for 10%. You'll see a massive blessings outpour in your life. And so from a spiritual perspective, having a financial house in order that way.
I would say from like a physical perspective with financials, definitely have your financials in order, of course, credit score and all. But in order to do some of the things that you would physically like to do, some of those things, well, I should say, a lot of those things cost money. You can't get everything for free now. There are some activities that you can do for free. You can go like Eventbrite or just Google, or even looking in a newspaper. A lot of places do, especially libraries, they have free events for the community in order for you to do physical things. And they do have financial workshops that you can attend in person and online. So if you need help with your finances, of course, asking for help, not being afraid to ask for help. And in the spiritual, asking the Lord, and the Lord will provide. So, hey. But, doing those events, going there, getting your finances in order to help with the physical, and it's also going to help with all of the pillars once your finances are in order, because, of course, everything can't be done for free, and then if you don't have money, you're going to stress yourself out.
I would say, and I don't know what pillar this would probably cover, a lot of pillars, or maybe common sense. What are you doing with your money now? Have you taken a look at where you spend your money? Because many of us, we really have enough money, but what are you doing with it? Maybe you're eating out 5 times a week rather than going and get you some groceries and learn how to cook. Maybe you're spending money on clothes because you want to look good, because you think that'll get you far in the business world. Sometimes take a look at where the money you have is going, and then you might need to cut back. I remember a time when I was young, raising 4 kids, didn't have a lot of money, and we wanted cable TV. Well, cable TV was $200. Did I need cable TV? I didn't need cable TV, so bye-bye cable TV. So sometimes we have to sacrifice those things if we want to take those next steps to go further. And if you're not good with money, because not everybody has that gift, go to someone who can guide you, who can lead you. And again, someone said, whatever work you do, exactly, whatever work you do some work. There is no shame in a job. And a lot of folks, young people especially, want get-rich-quick schemes. There is nothing wrong with a 9-to-5 job, finding something you can do and build from there. So much like we do a self-scan of how we're feeling, how we're doing, do a financial scan and find someone who can support you to take those next steps.
One of the easiest things that you can do when it comes to your finances is for 30 days, write down everything you purchase on a sheet of paper. It doesn't have to be a pretty notebook. It doesn't have to be a fancy journal book, just on a sheet of paper, so you can see where your money is going. Because first we have to understand where it's going to see where we can pull back and then take that money. And in the Bible, it speaks so much about money, and that we don't talk about it as a culture. And it's not something that we pass down generationally. In the Bible, it says you should pass down to your children's children money. Now, it doesn't say you have to send $1 billion or $1 million. Say you give them $20,000 to invest in a home, that you can put that money aside. That's following what the Bible says. And we do get stuck with that. I'm going to self-disclose. I used to be a shopaholic. And on any good day, I can wear out Amazon. But we have found out that we need to stay away from Amazon, and I'm doing really good. And so so do I really need that thing? Do I need it? And when they said, oh, you should not go here, you should not go there, stop. What's the first thing that I can do simply? See where my money is going so that I know, okay, this is where, like she said, we cut out cable TV too in our home for a while, for over 2 years, because it was too expensive. And it wasn't that we needed it. Regular TV had enough on there to entertain us, and we should not be sitting in front of a television for hours in a day when we have children. There's no physical activity. There's no time for us to sit and talk as a collective in the home. And all of this, all these pillars, they all link to one another. And so this is how I see money. Money is an asset that I use to do the things that I'd like to do, need to do, and want to do. And each of those categories, I need to figure out, but my needs get met first. My wants are the last thing that get done. And after giving to the community and paying tithes and doing those things, then I make sure that I invest for myself. So making sure that you're doing that and finding people that can help you. Some people will help you for free.
One last thing, comparison is a thief of joy. And so a lot of times we have to access our personal philosophy for anything that we do, especially in finances. And a lot of us go into debt and we do a lot of things that are negative because we're worried about the next person. We're trying to compete with, someone else. Keep up with the Joneses, we used to like to say, right? But instead of, not being afraid to ask for help, if that's the case that we need, and understand, being self-aware, once again, of what your personal stance is financially or any other aspect. Comparison is a thief of joy. Count your blessings.
Okay, I just wanted to thank you ladies just again one more time. We're so very grateful for you. We are now going to turn things over to our Women's Day Chair, Ms. Vida.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you to our dynamic TNT duo, Tara and Tracy. They are dynamite. Give them a round of applause. They said yes to coordinating this event, and they have done a stellar job in assembling a panel of experts that has shared wisdom with us, and we thank each of you for taking time out of your busy schedule. Even though no is a complete sentence, you managed to say yes for First Nazareth, and we appreciate each of you. And thank you to all of you who are sitting in the pews and who are online with us on Facebook, because you also took time out of your schedule to come and learn what can help you fill your personal cup. You cannot pour from an empty cup. We hope that what you've learned today gives you fuel for filling up, and that you'll take these practices and apply them and continue to keep pouring into yourself so that you can do all the things that you need to do as a woman. This Women's Day experience is not quite over. We're about halfway through on our journey. Our speaker talked about that trip to New York. Well, we've got a trip. Our destination isn't quite that far. We're trying to get to May 18th. And we want you to be with us every step of the way. So here's how you can be involved. Our next event is I'm about to skip something. Our next event is community service. We are collecting items to support the food pantry. There will be receptacles in the lobby. You can also bring items on Sundays after church. There'll be a drive-through on April 26th between, I think, 10 and 1. You can bring your items up for the food pantry. We're collecting food items as well as cleaning supplies. Lists will be provided, and it'll be on the announcements. You can also check my Facebook page. If you follow me, we'll post those items. Then on April 27th, talking about pouring, do you have your copy of Position to Pour? If not, you can scan the QR code on your Women's Day pledge cards. It will take you to Amazon where you can purchase your copy of the book. You can also download it for your Kindle. Our book club discussion will be April 27th at 4 p.m. If you would like to join our book club discussion, you can also scan the committee sign-up link and enter your email address. The Zoom link will be emailed to you, or you can ask our Robbie Diamond, who mentored these young ladies who helped put this panel together. She's going to be facilitating our book club. Or you can ask any woman wearing a faith pin how you can join our book club. We also have another stop. May 8th, join us for Sequins and Sacks. We'll be supporting the Mary B. Scott Women's Empowerment Fund by providing some much-needed financial support to women in our church. So if you would like tickets to that event, you can get them online. There's a QR code out in the lobby, but Catherine Lewis and her team are here today, and they can assist you with securing your tickets for that event. Women's Day, May 18th. I need all of you to be in the place ready to praise. And if you have the gift of song in your heart, you can see Sister Sadler, and she can tell you how you can sign up for that powerful Women's Day choir that we're going to have 120 women up in that choir stand. Well, maybe not that many, but it'll look like that and sound like that, all right? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming today to this event. Oh, wait, is that my pastor back in the corner? Oh, we cannot close out without having a word from our wonderful pastor, Dr. Blakely Scott. If you would come up to the front and give us our closing prayer.
Present you with these lovely lilies to tell you how much we really appreciate you and wishing you continued success. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Laureen mentioned something about door prizes after I finish. Well, you know, I talk a long time, especially when I got a congregation in front of me and a microphone. But certainly we want to thank God for our presentation with our panelists today, and it has been very informative. I want you to know that I took advantage of the online presentation of YouTube. And the only thing that I could not get worked out was as I was traveling, I could not get it to come through my Bluetooth. So I did miss a portion of it, but I got the rest of it as long as I could. And then I thought about it with those exercises. If I had been driving, I'd have been in trouble. So we are thankful that, that I was still at home when the exercises were being given. I didn't try them, but I guess I would have been doing it if I had the opportunity, but I couldn't get dressed and exercise at the same time. So thank you all so much, and we are so grateful for your lending your expertise, and I'm sure that the persons in virtual space join me in saying that as well. I looked at it, there were a number of comments being made online, so I want you to know that you not only reach those who are locally present, but also those outside in what we call the World Wide Web. Amen. May we bow together. God, we are so thankful to you for this leg of the race in our Women's Day process. We believe that you have given sanctioning to what has been done, and you have received it with an okay. And we are appreciative for how you have blessed us with the panelists who gave us out of their expertise and helped so many along the way. We ask now that you would use it as seed sown in good soil to bring forth much fruit for the kingdom. Now we're getting ready to leave, to go in our various directions. We ask that you would dismiss us from here, but never from your holy and divine presence. Keep us in your care and fix it so that when we arrive that we will find that all is well. Now unto him who is able to do exceeding abundantly above all that we can ask or think, through the power that worketh in us. To him be glory in the church by Christ Jesus throughout all ages, world without end. And may we all say together, amen.
Okay, everybody have your ticket. Oh, Pastor Scott doesn't have one. Okay. Okay. All right. First up, 508672. 508. Okay, we have a winner in the back. Congratulations. Next, 508705. 705. Someone else in the back. Congratulations. Oh, the first number was 508672. 72? Oh, okay. You know what, y'all? I'm sorry. I think I pulled the wrong card.